Welcome to my wizard's tower. I thought I'd bring you out into the garden today, hear the birds singing and have a little look at what I've been doing here. This has been my latest project. It's probably taken me well over a year to work my way through it slowly, a little bit at a time to get it all together. The main tower itself is a Pringles box, and I've covered all of that with the egg box tiles, as you can see, which I've painted. And the main part of the turret is a yogurt pot, a big yogurt pot. And underneath I've made the struts with pieces of wood. I cut that from my hazel tree, cut them all to size. And you'll see the balcony. I wanted the lady or the owner of this place to have a balcony to sit on. You can see the little chair there. But I had a beautiful necklace, a silver necklace that I loved very much, and it was broken, so it was no good to man nor beast. And what I've done with this is I've used it for the balustrade for the balcony, so that makes it something a little bit special. The light is a bead with a little filigree finding, 2 little beads for the handles on the door, and I actually painted and drew the tiles on the balcony itself there, on the floor of the balcony. The wispy bits and pieces that you see here on the side, the curlicue bits and pieces, are a vine, and they are from my grapevine in the front garden. I've simply dried them over winter on a radiator, and then they become quite hard and I can use them here. This little balcony over the flying buttress that I've made here with the archway is simply a top from a milk bottle, and I've just painted it gold, cut it, and I downloaded a picture from the internet of some flooring. I miniaturized it in Adobe on the computer so that I could use it for the flooring here. And the railings is simply a braid that I had with this gold on it, which looked rather cool. The dragon that you see here, if we turn him round, he was a pen, and the pen ran out, so I've simply cut the bottom off, the tip off, and then the dragon stands here in the garden, along with the standing stones, little bits of flint. Pumpkin is a bead, and then I've used little miniature bricks and a circular finding from jewellery for the moon gate. Put the steps in with stones that I found in the garden. Shall we explore the inside in more detail? This, in the top tower, is going to be the wizard's room. Now we'll look at that more closely in a second. Then coming down here, we have the main bedroom. This time, I must confess, I haven't made too much fuss about creating staircases and ways up and through different places. I just couldn't be doing with it. I wanted the space. So just decided that enough was enough. You can see here the mullioned windows. I've just done that with a permanent pen. And I've used just beautiful, I had some lovely silks, and I've used the silks for the curtains. Pretty braid for a bath. And I had a couple of earrings. You can see the gold bead and leaf dangly from the corner of the pelmet. And I've just used jewellery for that. Bits of jewellery I don't want anymore. And the bed, I had great fun with this gorgeous bed. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Again, using all the lovely silks that I had. Just threw myself into that, literally. Enjoyed it. Made the curtains and the canopy. Just loved it. Dressing tables over here. And again, this is just nice bits and pieces of jewellery. For the actual stool itself, that's just a large square bead. And I've made the little bits and pieces, the pots and what have you on the dressing table, again, with little beads. The large mirror, you can see there, the faceted mirror, that was simply a finding that I found in a shop that you would stick onto a greeting card if you were making cards. So I thought, why not? I'll use it for that. Bit of velvet for the flooring. And we have our bedroom, our master bedroom. Now if we come down another floor, here we've got the grand hall. Now I've done this with a kind of mezzanine flooring in it. I just fancied doing something a little bit different. So down in the main hall itself, we've got a fireplace, and I kind of marbled the fireplace and put brick in the back, printed a brick pattern out on the computer so that I had the brick. And we've got the fire guard there that I just used a fan that I had from earrings, cut up wood there from the garden to put that under the stairs. Making the stairs was interesting because I had to actually use the Pringles carton, and because it's curved, I had to make the stairs in the carton step by step with balsa wood. So that was a right fiddle. And the rail down the stairs is just a piece of embroidery thread with beads on it. We've got a doorway here, and the doorway over here with the curtains, that leads out onto the turret that's outside, the flying turret here that's on the outside. This is the only staircase I have, and I've supported this flying mezzanine floor with 2 wooden struts underneath that I cut, and then we go up here. The railing again is made with little teeny bits of wood that I've cut from twigs, and there's a throne sitting up there, so just imagine the wizard or the master of the house sits on the throne and looks down below and looks over guests and visitors maybe who come in. In the corner, I found a button. This is a button, this knight standing in the corner. So I cut the back off it, a pair of pliers, and that goes in there. 3 beads for a hanging kind of chandelier here. And then if we come round, I've used a button because it seemed to be the right sort of shape and size for a coat. Maybe it's a shield sitting up on the wall there. And then if we come round here, this is another piece of jewellery here up on the wall as a decoration. Nice velvet curtains. Beads, I've used beads again to decorate the throne. And that, the back of the throne, the kind of amethyst beads that you're seeing there, that again was an earring. There we go, a bead again, which has become a pot, which is holding a house plant. And this is the fun, isn't it, of looking at all the things that you have that you can perhaps turn into something else. So this is the workroom down below, the where the wizard might go to make spells and work his magic. And I made a cat post, wound embroidery thread around the cat post for the scratching, and the cat, another little, he was a button as well. The cat sits on top and he's watching everything that goes on. We've got a little barrel in front with a couple of beads and a piece of paper and a tiny little feather quill that I made. Then a picture on the wall, a chart for our wizard to look at and to refer to. Now, our wizard doesn't have plant pots and house plants. Our wizard has a little moss arrangement with red toadstools on it. And can you see next to it, I made the mice. That's one larger round bead with two little beads on the top for the ears, and then a little bit of thread for the tail. So we've got a couple of little mice here and there. There's one on the table too, at the front of the table here. I found a little cauldron. Again, the cauldron was a pair of earrings. I found the earrings. And up here, I've made the spiders. So two beads, two black beads, one large, one small. And I've threaded this is sewing cotton through it. And that makes the legs, and then one piece of cotton to hang it. And of course that means that when I move this particular house, the spider moves with it. I've picked bits and pieces from the garden and wound thread around them so that I can hang them up there as herbs. And then again, a selection of little beads in the background on a shelf to make them look like pots and medicines and, well, all sorts. Use your imagination. Down below the desk, I've made books. So I've got a selection of books on the shelf, and then you can see the scrolls here, where the white scrolls on the right hand side beyond the barrel, and these are his scrolls with all his spells on, and this is where the magic happens. Lots of little bits and pieces. There's a broom in the corner of the room here, and this was simply a charm, a bracelet charm. So I'll use absolutely anything that I can find that's suitable for the job in hand. And then I've just picked moss from the garden so that I can drape it here and there. Interestingly enough, that's really green. This is moss in the front here as well. It's very, very green when you first pick it, but as it dries out and ages, it will go this kind of beigey buff colour. And that's all right, I don't mind that. If you want it to stay green, you have to go up here and buy this kind of green stuff. This you can buy in model shops, used very often for railways, model railways. I love decorating the garden. So I go out in my garden and I find my little bits and pieces of acorns, little acorns that have fallen down before they mature, and they're fabulous for this kind of thing. Making something like this gives you the opportunity to use all of the things that you might collect while you're out and about and going for walks, and you don't know what to do with them. So the white stones that you're looking at, this was a beach that we visited, a little teeny tiny beach on Corfu called Orthoni, and I collected some stones just to remind me that I was there. And of course now this is the perfect project to put something like this in them. Special beads that you might have here, this gold sort of copper coloured bead, it just gives me a chance to use it. And the twisty curlies, as I said earlier here, these are all bits and pieces of my grapevine. And I just put them on a tray, a little tray, and I dry them over the course of a week on a radiator, and they go hard, and then I can use them for projects like this. I couldn't make that. There's nothing I could do to make that. So to be able to just pick it from the garden is perfect. Let's go up and have a look in the wizard's workroom up top. Now the roof comes off. I think that's quite important to note because then it allows you to see in. And this is the tower where I keep the battery pack because the lighting is attached to the rest of the building. Welcome to my wizard's tower. I thought I'd bring you out into the garden today, hear the birds singing and have a little look at what I've been doing here. This has been my latest project. It's probably taken me well over a year to work my way through it slowly, a little bit at a time to get it all together. Now the roof comes off. I think that's quite important to note because then it allows you to see in. And this is the tower where I keep the battery pack because the lighting is attached to the rest of the building. The little side turret. Now this was a small bottle that you'd get in a hotel for shower gel or shampoo. And I've taken the top off it, I've cut the top off and I've covered it with paper, tissue paper, and then I've painted it to make it look elderly and rustic. Cut the windows out, used little bits of perspex in the window and used moss from the garden and bits and pieces to decorate. The frame of the window is broken up and cut up pieces of egg box, which I've then painted. And the roofing, I've literally cut every tile with card, different coloured card, and then stuck them all on individually. The paper I had, the wallpaper here, this lovely brick paper, I had from my doll's houses that I've made. This is where it all happens. This is the wizard's workroom. And I need to be able to remove the lid so that I can see into this room and understand what's in here. Otherwise it would just be lost. The spider table was a pin. It was a pin for a lapel that I just bought in a shop for probably £1. Nothing much. And then the chair, this chair took me ages. I had to find the right type of wood for it, the right shape, because I wanted this kind of lyre shaped back. And then I put the cotton threads through it for the back. I had to stick them all in individually. And then you have to cut the legs to make sure the legs are the right size and it doesn't wobble, can you imagine? And then I enjoyed making the cushion and draping a red cloak over it. And you can see that my spider will move. Crystal ball. You can make these just by finding a little marble or a little bead This is a bead just put on a finding for a necklace. And then on the table, all sorts of little pots and jars. And one of them has fallen over, and I've used glitter glue to drag it down the table and spill it on the floor. I made the tassels for the curtains. Oh, that was a trial to make them that small. Oh my word. This top of the tower has a stairway up onto this balcony landing, and then that goes into the little tower that you saw earlier. And I kept that quite empty because that's where I put my battery pack. I have another spider on the wall, and the walls I've just found stonework on the computer and printed down the paper and stuck that in to give me this stonework effect. On this wall over here we have a magic mirror, and I've used an old necklace, a silver necklace. I think it was the rest of the necklace that I used on the balcony, and that's the handle that draws the curtain. It can either open it or close it because you don't want people looking in the mirror all of the time. They'll see the magic. A pendant that I had on the wall, I've just used that as a gemstone. Could be a mirror, interpreted as a mirror. And this floor does actually have a stairwell coming up to it. So I've surrounded the stairwell with a little bit of banister so that no one can hurt themselves. And this floor does also have a skirting board all the way around it.